Back at again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah G, and today we're gonna react to the victims of Playboi Carti Part 2. Let's get right into the video. Oh my gosh, bro.
Many of you will know Playboi Carti has a harrowing past of manipulation, lies, and disturbing allegations. However, there's also been many cases where Carti has lashed out at his victims, harming them.
The first one, I didn't do it because, you know, well, no, you don't know. I didn't do it all because it was too much cussing in it. Not me cussing, the video. Iggy Azalea kept cussing, so I just scrapped the video. Let's see what this does.
And even in some scenarios, causing life-threatening injuries.
Playboi Carti pushed me in the bathroom along with his dudes and stumped my head in the toilet, stumped my head on the side of the toilet, ripped my ear open. They were stumping my head in.
From attacking his innocent bus driver, to punching a bouncer 6 times in the face over a cigarette, to nearly ending a man due to a dispute over a girl, Playboi Carti never fails to—
Man, you talking about he fought? Hold on.
Cigarette, to nearly ending a man—
He fought that nigga. That's the dude from Superfly, but that guy got allegations on him, so him, I don't know.
And due to a dispute over a girl, Playboi Carti never fails to put himself in situations where he ends up hurting innocent people and damaging their lives, all for his personal gain. So what are the causes of these random attacks
I ain't know he had beef with that guy.
from Playboi Carti? Why does such a prominent figure in the industry get involved in these situations, and how does he get away with it every single time? After the immense success of his self-titled mixtape and Billboard charting single Magnolia in 2017, Playboi Carti and his team had decided that
We just toured so not.
I don't eat Taco Bell no more. I don't care.
enough recognition to be able to sell out shows in Europe. This would lead to Playboi Carti eventually announcing his first fully fledged tour across Europe, which was a statement move in his career. The majority of the venues sold out in just a couple days. For this 3-week journey across Europe, Carti would have hired a luxury double-decker coach, costing him $30,000, which would transport him and his 14-member entourage. Carti would first perform in Germany, where he would stay for 3 days with 3 consecutive shows. Him and his group would then have to travel from Hamburg, Germany to Glasgow, Scotland, with it being around an 18-hour drive. Everything would go smoothly.
18-hour drive? That's a drive right there. I think I did 19-20 hours because I had went to Kansas. So
They would arrive safely, and Carti would be able to perform at his sold-out show in Glasgow. Straight after the performance was over, they set straight off down south towards London, as Carti had a show there the next day. However, just about an hour out from central Glasgow, the coach would stop at the Gretna services, due to there being a supposed faulty heating system, which was actually a recurring issue, and had been happening since the beginning of their tour. They had pulled onto the hard shoulder of the M74 in the early hours of the morning, as Carti moaned that it was too cold on board. One of the drivers of the coach attempted to fix the faulty heating system, but this would only cause more issues to arise, as once the drivers switched off the onboard computer, they couldn't get it to start again, leaving them stranded with the doors partially open in freezing weather. Now at this point, Carti and his crew are pretty upset. He's paid $30,000 for this coach just for it to break down, where he needs to be in London as soon as possible, as he's got a
kind of confused, but I am learning a little bit of some new information.
show there the next evening. Luckily for them, the coach company had sent a relief coach so they can continue their journey. However, they had to wait around 8 hours for it to arrive, and upon arrival, Carti and his crew were left disappointed, as it did not have the same luxurious facilities that their original coach had. This made Carti pretty furious, which led to him throwing things across the coach and—
Hey man, Jordan Carter, I'm gonna need you to just take a deep breath and calm down on this plane. Chill. Don't get mad. Please don't, Carti. Please don't.
even throwing a bottle at the window, until he decided he had enough and ran across the coach and swung at one of the bus drivers, which left a cut on the driver's face and knocked off his glasses. Now of course, this attack seems a bit random, and I'm not here to just paint Carti as the villain, but I couldn't find any reason online why Carti would have punched the driver. The only thing that could have started a dispute was that Carti was probably upset they had to wait 8 hours and that this new coach was not on the same standard, which may have led to him raising a concern towards the driver, leading to an argument. Then Carti swinging at him, as two of Carti's tour managers had stated that he had acted in self-defense, as apparently one of the drivers
So he didn't start it. Pretty much.
acted aggressively towards
Pretty much what you're telling me is they made him mad because maybe they got in his face or put their hands on him first, and then he did something back. Maybe that's what happened.
Carti. However, what we do know is that on the night of 25th of February in 2018, Playboi Carti would be arrested in Scotland on assault charges. A year later, in the January of 2019, Carti would appear at court in Scotland, where Dumfries Justice of the Peace Court convicted Carti of the charges and slapped him with a fine, $570 for the alleged assault and about $350 for the bus damages. However,
Well, that ain't that much money to Carti. He gonna pay that off quick. I'm guessing the bails in the countries are cheaper. I don't know how it works.
assaulting his bus driver isn't the only violent incident Playboi Carti would get himself into in 2018. After finishing his European tour, Playboi Carti would return to the UK to perform at the third day of the Wireless Festival on the 8th of July, performing the
I'm
same
guessing this is the Dilate era. This looks like Dilate Carti right here.
There's huge acts such as Lil Uzi Vert, Cardi B, and Rick Ross. Everything would go well. Carti would set out on the main stage where the crowd loved him, and once he performed his set, he would go back to his hotel, ready to go back out later that night to party. Once the evening came around, Playboi Carti would head out to Soho's China White, which is an exclusive VIP nightclub in central London for celebrities and members.
I've heard Ken Carson say Soho in a song. Didn't know what it was. Still don't know what it is. Is it like a brand or something, or is it what this guy just said?
Only. At around 3 AM, Carti would be inside, sat at a table, smoking, which unfortunately for him was prohibited while inside the nightclub. This is when a security guard approached him, placed his hand on his shoulder, and politely told him that smoking is prohibited in the club. But Carti was alarmed by this random man touching him, which caused him to lash out, punching the
I
man.
mean, I probably would have got mad too, but like, you know not to do that in public if it's prohibited.
6 times in the face. These blows sent the doorman staggering backwards, hitting a table, which actually saved him from collapsing. Eventually, the police would be called, and Carti would be arrested and charged with assault. A year later, he would return to the UK at Westminster Magistrates Court.
Up with all these assault charges, man. I mean, like I said, these are just what people say or allegations, but if it was seen with my eyes, I could believe it. But if it's just straight assault charges, then he probably did it. But then some of it was probably not even for real, and it was just over-exaggerating. So I wonder if he's gonna talk about that time when he punched that guy at that hotel for the guy who stepped up to Carti and confronted him and was talking that trash and was calling him the B word, I think, and all that. And Carti smacked the mess out of that man. And he was like, oh, he was all like this, and he was scared. Yeah. And Carti showed him.
Court, which would be just a couple of days after he was in court in Scotland for the assault on his bus driver. The London judge stated, "First of all, I do recognise you're a man who did not have many advantages in his life, who has built a successful career through your own talents and dedication. The facts are that you assaulted a bouncer who is vulnerable by his very job, by punching him 6 times, which was, I am quite satisfied, unprovoked. It was a complete..."
I mean, maybe he lashed out, like maybe he was already having a bad day and that man triggered him by putting his hands on him. I mean, the bouncer could at least walked up to him and say, hey man, you know, there's no smoking allowed. But dang man, you got like he did something that's extraordinary, like crazy beyond. All he did was smoke, but still, it is the rules.
Overreaction. We know that 6 months earlier, you behaved in a similar way in Scotland. Carti would admit assaulting the doorman, where he was then set a fine of 14,000 British pounds and ordered to pay a compensation of 100 pounds to the doorman, which is wow. Sorry to interrupt the video, but if you're enjoying so far, I'd appreciate 100 pounds to be punched 6 times by a squealing non-binary vampire. In these 2 cases in the UK, Carti was basically let off for free. From his perspective, they were just small fines, which basically allowed him to punch anyone he wants to. However, just a couple years later, this time in America, with a much harsher legal system, Carti would be pulled over in his Lamborghini with a close affiliate, Opium Baby, where in the vehicle they had multiple illegal firearms and substances. On the 2nd of April,
I think I know what this. I think I remember this. I think there was lean in the car. There was a gun. Well, no, I'm being federal. I'm being too federal. Hold on. There was some stuff in the car. I think. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. Just let's hear what the guy has to say. Let's hear what the guy has to say.
in 2020, Playboi Carti and ex-Hollywood actor Jalen Tucker, who you may know as Opium Baby, were cruising around Clayco County in Atlanta, Georgia. However, the Lambo Hurricane they were cruising in, which was actually a gift from his fiancée at the time, Iggy Azalea, would have expired tags, causing him to be pulled over by Sheriff Victor Hill's elite Cobra Strike Force, who was supposed
I don't think Georgia plays that. They don't play in the police department down there. I don't think they play, man. I don't even live there, but I don't think they play.
Originally a SWAT team that take down the worst criminals in Atlanta and have previously arrested YSL gang members and many other dangerous wanted criminals. After the police officer told Carti he is not allowed to continue driving and has to step out, well, this is when Carti's bad attitude would start. Carti would first tell the officers, "Take me to jail, I don't care anymore." The car also smelled of weed, which would lead to the car getting searched. Upon conducting a search, the deputy found many substances and
he probably didn't really care because he was gonna pay the bail.
3 firearms in the vehicle. This would get the 2 men arrested, but Carti wasn't finished trash talking to the officers. He would carry on, saying things such as he's going to F the officer's daughter, that he has a hot wife, and that he doesn't care about his exotic sports car because he can just go buy a new one. Carti would end up getting...
I heard about that, and this is exactly the time I remember when he got arrested. This is the mugshot in the exact time, the same scenario where he's saying about the officer, he was with the situation, and then where he got arrested for. Okay, I remember this, yeah.
Getting booked for marijuana possession, improperly passing an emergency vehicle, and displaying an invalid decal on his license plate.
Man. Okay, saying it, go again.
Improperly passing an emergency vehicle and displaying an
I thought
invalid
it said the other drug, but I figured it was that, the lean or whatever.
decal on his license plate, while Opium Baby would get charged for much harsher gun and drug charges. They were both taken into custody and were facing the
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
wall at Georgia's toughest paramilitary jail, known as the Hilton. Carti will be bailed out a couple hours after his arrest, but
I'm sorry for pausing the video, but I do think I remember that Opium Baby took the charges. I think that's what happened.
Jay would be held due to his charges, where he would be facing a maximum of 45 years. Now this is usually what happens with celebrities and their entourage.
That man is literally walking right now. Not being federal, but I'm pretty sure what the charges dropped, or it wasn't even that serious. He didn't really. I mean, did he really do anything? I mean, if they had, okay, I get it. The car was suspended. But they have to check the car, like, dang, how they know they had all that stuff in there?
When they're carrying illegal items, it is pretty much their job to take blame for everything, so the rich famous person can be let off as they're of higher status, which is what Jay did for Carti. And if it wasn't for him, Playboi Carti may have never been able to release Whole Lotta Red, as Jay actually ended up doing some time behind bars.
So I think he did do it for him. So yeah, the stories, but I'm telling you, I be knowing exactly, like, I might not know everything about Carti, but like, I know my information.
A couple years later, Opium Baby would be seen videoing himself in court, ready to plead for his freedom.
Nickelodeon was kid everything.
Nope, don't want to hear it.
Eventually post a story saying, "We just swooped the DEA ass out of there." But what confused me is that in all the papers in the picture, he had guilty circled on all the options, so I don't know about that one. But now that I've covered all of Playboi Carti's remaining criminal history, where I covered the first part in my Victims of Playboi Carti Part 1 video, we can now go...
That was the video I was going to react to, but like I said, I scrapped it because it was just too much profanity, too much explicit language. Iggy Azalea was cussing up the storm, so I said, I'm scrapping the video.
Into his aggressive behavior, in occasions, the law didn't get involved. So first, we have to go all the way back to 2015, to the iconic video of Carti fighting Kerwin Frost and Ass Pizza.
I think I've seen this before.
where Carti was shouting ad-libs after every punch, Ian Connor was acting like his trainer, and the Christmas tree was hanging upside down. But first,
I think that's where flatbed. What is the song? Flatbed freestyle, where he was like, yeah, it's flatbed or no, it's flatbed freestyle. But he was like, boop 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 boop. You know, in the beginning of the song, that's where it came from when he was beating that guy. He was making the sound. Okay, hold on. He was like, boop boop boop. That was from the video, and then he put it into the actual song, right?
I need to give you guys some backstory, as it's more than just a little fight. Back in 2015, Ian Connor would be one of the hottest personalities in the fashion space. He was hanging
I
with
already know what he's about to talk about, them allegations. I already know
the
it.
ASAP mob, who during
I don't even listen to that man, Ian Connor, but I know you got allegations on him.
a period were in their peak, modeled for Kanye West, and even labeled himself as the king of the
I
youth.
think that's the reason why Carti stopped hanging with him.
Which was because he always believed in supporting the youth, as big companies always capitalized off them with no return. So anytime he saw potential in an upcoming artist, designer or model, he wanted to help them make it big, which is what he did with Playboi Carti, Kerwin Frost and Ass Pizza. Carti at the time was an upcoming artist, Kerwin Frost was an upcoming personality in the space, and Ass Pizza was a promising fashion designer, and Ian basically put them all on. Kerwin and Ass Pizza would become very close friends, where they would hang around Harlem, eventually also meeting fellow-minded young creatives such as Luke Sabat, Sheck West, Ray Martinez, White Trash Tyler, where they would end up forming the Spaghetti Boys, who ended up being a pretty big thing as they released fashion collaborations with
And why were they called the Spaghetti Boys?
Off-White and Heron Preston, hosted all-age parties and individually all worked with prominent figures within the scene, such as Kanye West, the Kardashians, and so on. Now, as Ass Pizza was getting more popular, he would start getting noticed by blogs such as V-Files, Vader, Complex, and No Jumper. Now, as Ass Pizza would start getting interviewed by these blogs, where he would give us insight about his come-up and how he got to where he is today. But what he failed to do was give homage to Ian Connor, as without him, he wouldn't be this upcoming fashion dude. But the specific interview that annoyed Ian Connor was the Ass Pizza.
It was just the way he was all in the camera at first, okay? 16-year-old who's got... So he must be like he clothing designer. Okay, I figure because sis wearing his designs. So he... Okay.
The Fader interview, as it was a huge platform which would have been the perfect opportunity to tell the world how Ian Connor supported him, getting him from this no-name to a respectable figure in the scene. But he didn't, so after it's released, Ian Connor would start calling Ass Pizza out, in messages that read, "Pay homage and stop showing off, it's a matter of respect, you ain't just come into existence," which was Ian showing how annoyed he was at the fact Ass Pizza didn't speak about him in his interview, which Ian saw as disrespectful. Later down the line, Ian Connor would befriend another fashion kid who he saw had potential, John Ross, who in the current day has his own brand 7th Heaven and manages Young KO. Sometime in 2015, John Ross would take it to Twitter to expose Ass Pizza and his friends for running a fake brand named Marcel Zago, which was basically a social experiment
What does this have to do with Carti?
they ran where they wanted to trick people into thinking it's some
still, cool video.
edgy unknown designer brand, but obviously it didn't work as John Ross exposed him on Twitter. John Ross would then put out another tweet with the caption, "Don't support Ass Pizza," to which he would also attach an image of messages Ass Pizza sent him saying, "Yo, are you stupid fella? First off, I didn't make Marcel Zago and it's a joke. Anyway, nice job ruining the joke. Second, don't diss me, your clothes are so terrible lol. I could have put you on, you don't know what I'm working on. I was gonna have you be a part of it, but it's okay. Go have fun with Ian Connor. I'm sure you'll be making big moves for the youth. You're both young visionaries, aka sad." So he basically clowned John Ross and Ian, then made fun of them for what they're doing in the scene at the time. And Ian had enough of the disrespect from someone who he literally made. So he tweeted, "I'ma beat the out Ass Pizza when I catch him, and that's on my worthless life." So at this point, it was Carti, Ian Connor, and John Ross versus Kerwin Frost and Ass Pizza. Shortly after this, Ass Pizza
I don't like that name. Like, what type of name is that?
based on an apology video aimed at Ian Connor and John Ross, where it looks like he was being held hostage while apologizing. Then he would also post a video on YouTube explaining the situation, how he wants his beef to end and that it is affecting his daily life. Then towards the end of the video, he even challenged Ian Connor to a boxing match to settle it for good. And even though fans love this idea, it never happened. However, eventually, Ian Connor and Playboi Carti would pull up on Kerwin Frost and Ass Pizza. So one day, Kerwin and Ass Pizza were hanging out at Gianna Mora's crib, who at the time was Carti's creative director and worked for the brand Pastel, which was founded by Kanye West and ran by Ian Connor. Anyways, while they were chilling, Gianni would bring something up.
How does it become a thing that that Carti and Ian are
Because they're
talking
coming
about?
over, but
But Curran and
I don't want to even hear about that guy, the no jumper guy, because he got some stuff going on. I just don't even want to hear his voice right now.
As Pizza stayed and continued to watch TV. Eventually, Carti and Ian would arrive, which is when
No disrespect, but it's just bad timing.
they came, and I talked to Ian for a while. And when he came in, he was just like, throw your hands up, we're fighting right now. And then I stand up and he's like, bro, I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna fight you. But one of you guys have to fight Carti. And then like, I tell Ian
Pretty
like,
much, Adam22, he's doing stuff for fame that's not even, like, he's just doing, pretty much he's faking something for money. Pretty much he doesn't want to do it, but, you know, he probably signed a contract making him do it. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. The Adam22 guy. But that's not,
like this shit's not fair. Like this is like me and Ian's thing, you know?
Right.
Like Kerwin and Carti have nothing to do with this shit.
Uh-huh.
So then Carti just like gets mad and like hits me, then starts like punching Kerwin.
So you don't actually see that in the video,
No,
the him hitting you part. It kind
No.
of looks like he's just going
And-
in on
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
So fucking
And after that is where the video starts, which I unfortunately can only play segments of on YouTube. However, I can explain you through it. The video starts off by Kerwin and Carti stood either side of a Christmas tree hanging down from the ceiling. Then Carti punching a knot down Kerwin Frost while also making but ad-libs while Ian Connor is shouting.
and that's what I was explaining. You know where that came from? Flatbed Freestyle, which is off his Dialect album.
Motivational phrases towards Carti. As Pizza then tries to step in to help Kerwin, where he just ends up getting pushed and tumbling over instead. Then the video ends by As Pizza getting backhanded to the face and falling over again.
they fucking leave or whatever after that fight. And then they said they weren't gonna post it or anything, so they posted it
How long did it take before it went up?
like fucking like 30 minutes.
Okay, and so the entire world is like looking at Twitter, just kind of shocked, and then all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
this happened.
And like
yeah.
people are like saying a lot of shit, like we lost or whatever. But if like we won that fight, like no one would have known because we wouldn't have posted it, and it would probably only make things worse.
And man, Carti got hands.
Now what confused me and a lot of fans about this is that why are Carti and Kerwin the ones fighting? The entire beef started with Ian being mad at As Pizza. Well, a year later the Spaghetti Boys would release a video of Kerwin Frost and Ian Connor
I
fighting.
don't know, maybe their beef pissed him off, or maybe they disrespected him and he got mad.
Which again, why are they fighting? The beef is between As Pizza and Ian. Anyways, we're getting a bit off topic here. In summary, Playboi Carti was used as Ian Connor's Pokemon to beat up two fashion kids. And just a year later, Playboi Carti would get into another violent affair, but this time with close associate ASAP Rocky at the scene. In 2021, actor and artist Kalen Walker came out in an interview with Fox Soul and stated that he had been jumped by Playboi Carti and his goons a couple years back over a girl.
A few years ago, I was jumped by Playboi Carti and his guys for defending a woman.
I don't even want to hear what that guy has to say, because I told you already, that guy has allegations. That guy played in the Superfly, but he has some weird allegations on him, and I don't want to hear the guy that was just talking. Nope, had to skip that.
Click were at some type of event, where at a point in the evening, Carti and his guys were getting into a disagreement with a woman that was there, which Kalen saw and decided he didn't
Which is pretty stupid, but people do that.
like how she was being treated.
And they didn't like that woman at that time. So they got offended.
Yeah, fighting over that. Fighting over you.
Like, pretty long story short, words, you defending this chick, you.
Which is when Carti and his guys were like, who the fuck is this dude? Why is he getting involved? So they beat his ass.
So Playboi Carti pushed my head in the...
Who Carti was signed to at the time, saw this and stepped in, saving Kalen.
When they were stumping my head in, and he started,
Okay,
shorty,
we get it. You got
To this
messed
event.
up.
Literally no one
We know you got messed up. Okay.
spoke about it until Kalen came out in 2021 about the situation. However, all I can say is whatever Kalen has to say about this, take it with a grain of salt, as he's a bit of a pathological liar. He said he was supposed to be the first Black Spider-Man, Future almost signed him to OVO, which is like what? What does Future have to do with Drake's label? And he recently has been sentenced for 50 years to life on a...
You see what I'm saying? That's why I skipped what this guy talking about, because he got allegations on him. You see this? Read that. You can rewind it back if you don't catch it right here. But yeah,
Series of sexual assaults. So I actually think we have found a celebrity with a worse history than Playboi Carti. However, I believe this fight to be true, as Carti even stated himself he only beefs guys over girls.
I ain't never got beef with no nigga, bro. All my beefs been about bitch.
I know this thing right here. I remember this.
I'm like, yo, get a fuck. Every beef in my life been about a bitch. On my mama, cause I don't talk to niggas. Niggas is cancer, niggas can't say nothing. And niggas, look, only niggas can say to me, they can be like, oh, some niggas can say I changed on them because I thought they was on the same shit I was on, but they not. Or they was on some shit that I wanted to be on, and when I got on that shit, I got on it, then surpassed them, and they was just lost in the sauce. I'm like, damn.
Now in the same year that Kalen came
He was talking his,
came out to expose Carti for what he did, while Carti would be caught on camera smacking a guy that tried to press him. In the February of 2021, a video would be posted online of a guy running up to Carti trying to press him after he supposedly was putting his hands on his sister.
Hey, you put your hands on my sister.
I remember this. This is what I was talking about earlier. Let me turn this down a little bit.
Ain't nobody putting her on the shit. I'm gonna kill you, gonna kill shit. I'm gonna kill you, gonna kill shit. I'm gonna kill you, boy. I ain't scared of no pussy, nigga.
Carti would reach for his pistol to defend themselves as the two continued to argue, but never ended up pulling it out. They continued arguing for some time until Carti had enough and smacked the dude in his face.
What y'all wanna do?
After Carti smacks the guy, dude collapses on the floor, ends up making some squealing sounds and runs away. After the situation, Carti would put out a tweet saying, "I knocked bro out, he was being too crazy." Now no one really knows the backstory behind this video as well. It seemed like it was just some clout chaser who wanted to run up on Carti to see what he would do. Many fans even started creating conspiracy theories online about how it was supposedly fake to make Carti look more tough after he transformed to the whole vampire aesthetic for Whole Lotta Red. So in the Playboi Carti Victims Part 1 and Part 2, I have covered all his arrests and major disputes with his victims. However, I don't want to miss anything out for you guys, so in the last portion of this video, I'll be covering the last small incident without a lot of context, just so you guys can be fully informed of Playboi Carti's past. And with this last incident, it'll wrap up all of Playboi Carti's victims. On the 11th of January in 2019, ASAP Rocky would be in Toronto on his Injured Generation tour, with special guest Playboi Carti. They would perform the show, everything would go great. However, sometime after the show, Rocky, Carti and their entourage would leave the venue, where they would get into an altercation with some people outside. Things ended up getting pretty heated, which is when someone started recording. There would be around 20 people stood in the middle of the road, all just seen pushing and shouting, with Rocky being the guy in a white t-shirt and blue jeans, and Carti being the guy in black jeans and a blue jacket.
I'm just guessing that Carti he be fighting, man. He just a fighter. He don't play that. He always fight.
Eventually, it seemed like the altercation ended and the two groups were splitting up. However, Carti can be seen walking into the crowd and smashing his bottle over a man's head who's laying on the floor. The video then ends, and that's pretty much all that we would get from the situation. Rocky would end up speaking on this in an interview with Angie Martinez in 2019, where he said it was supposedly Playboi Carti and someone else, and that he wasn't in Canada during that time, even though he had a show on that date. But that wraps up the victims of Playboi Carti. Let me know if you think I have missed anything.
Alright, that was the victims of Playboi Carti Part 2, which was actually not bad. I got more reactions coming. Subscribe, like, comment. Tell me what y'all want to see in the comments down below. What y'all want me to react to in the comments down below. And yeah, subscribe, like, comment, and Uriah out.